What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything you need to know about on a daily basis, including money, investing, the stock market, fourth stimulus package update, and stimulus check update. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free to do so you don't miss out on new videos that come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as always, thanks for hitting the like button for us down below. We got a lot to talk about here in this video. The IRS says millions of people are eligible for a tax credit for low-income Americans and middle-low-income Americans that could be up to $7,000. And Sweden and Finland, who previously had not wanted to join NATO, now say that they both might join NATO because, well, I think they've both now realized that Ukraine has pretty much been left to fend for themselves, except for, all the countries supplying them with weapons. They've had to fight off Russia by themselves. And they have both previously said they didn't really want to join NATO, but now, and also they border NATO, or I'm sorry, they border Russia. Now they're kind of thinking much differently about this. Yeah, you can see here Sweden Democrats leader wants the party to change on NATO membership if Finland applies as well to join the 30-country alliance, which the United States is in as well. Because if anybody attacks one country in NATO, it's a declaration of war against all of them. So, for example, if Russia attacked Sweden or Finland or any country in NATO, the United States and all the countries in NATO, it would be a declaration of war against all the countries in NATO. Yeah, you could see here the leader of Sweden's second biggest opposition party will and should join NATO if Finland also applies to join NATO. It's a long change of stance by the Sweden Democrat Party and would mean a swing to the parliamentary majority. And they have long been neutral. And they're seeing a big change of heart because of, well, Russia. Finland has a 1,300-kilometer border with Russia. And this comes after just a few weeks ago, Putin actually warned them not to join NATO. Russia, you can see this headline here by Bloomberg. Russia official warns Finland and Sweden against joining NATO. Russia's Putin has said that NATO's expansion is a reason for war. You can see here a spokesperson for the Russian Foreign Ministry has issued another warning to both Sweden and Finland, warning them not to join NATO. I mean, literally, Putin just threatens every country in the world whenever possible. You can see here they repeated their threat here, and as I said, this was a few weeks ago. They repeated their threat of retaliation on March 12th of Sweden and Finland if they decided to join NATO, warning of serious military and political consequences if they joined NATO, and that there would be serious, as I said, military and political consequences. However, Sweden said back, I disagree. It would stabilize us. It would send a clear message that we are not giving into military threats, adding that if Sweden and Finland were to join, it would increase security for the region. And this is exactly why Putin doesn't want and didn't want Ukraine to join NATO or the EU. The EU is the same way. If you attack one country in the EU, it's a declaration of war against all of them, because Putin can't even control a major city in Ukraine. So how on earth would he possibly contend against 30 countries against NATO or the EU? He possibly couldn't. The only way he could is to go with an all-out nuclear war, which, I mean, would just be I mean, I don't think anybody wants that to happen. There would be no winners at all. Not like there's any winners in this current situation. But I mean, can you imagine that? But I think Putin clearly knows that um, if he attacks any NATO country, that there's no way he's going to win. There's no way he's going to win. He can't even defeat Ukraine. How's he going to defeat 30 countries? Right? I mean, and if he goes into a nuclear war, I mean, again, 30 countries, I mean, US and a lot of these other countries have nukes as well. It's not a winning situation for him. So, but the thing is that these are like situations that, and even the White House has talked about this, is that these are kind of things that we have to consider here. These are possibilities with Putin. I mean, you kind of think Putin and Hitler. I mean, this is stuff that does need to be talked about. And I mean, you can let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I mean, just a few months, there were some people saying, "Oh, Putin will never, invade Ukraine. It's just scare tactics. It's just fear mongering." And here we are. They're in full blown war, dropping bombs and attacking civilians, and literally like the worst of it. And now it's kind of like, is he ever going to stop? So, I mean, we could literally be doing this here. It could be Christmas time of this year, and we could be like, well, Putin hasn't stopped yet, and we also kind of we got to think about how does this war end? And all it really takes is Putin to attack one neighboring country that's NATO. And then that is a declaration of war against the US as well. It's a declaration of war against all NATO countries. So that's really all it takes is and remember that Russia and Alaska are literally like a few miles apart. They literally touch each other pretty much, up north by Alaska. So yeah, it's all these things are kind of to be concerned about. Ukrainian President Zelensky says that Ukraine's goal is to be part of the EU, the European Union. He really honestly wants to be a part of NATO as well, but NATO has just not, they've just not really been accepting of him. And now that they're actually in war, I don't think they're going to let him in now, because that would literally, you know, they'd have to defend him right away. And the US and all the NATO countries have been pretty clear that they're not going to commit troops into Ukraine here. Um, but the EU has been a little more welcoming to the possibility of letting them into the EU. You can see here, Zelensky said a Friday that Ukraine's longstanding goal is to be part of the European Union, and that he is convinced of Ukraine's success on this path, and that during his address on Friday, that he had just received a questionnaire from the European Commission, and quote, the answers to which will be the basis for preparing the conclusion of the European Commission on Ukraine's readiness for EU membership negotiations. And that the answers would be prepared in a week, and he believed Ukraine was finally close to realizing our long-standing goal. And the EU president has just provided an additional 500 million euros for the Ukrainian military, and readying a sixth wave of sanctions against Russia for its invasion. European leaders also visited Bucha and have been really against Russia and for Ukraine. So this is a very possibility. So this is potentially one way that the war could end if Ukraine is entered into the EU. This would basically be a ultimatum to Putin that he would have to immediately stop the war, or else all EU countries would have to defend Ukraine if this were to happen. So this could be a way to end the war. So I'll keep you up to date. Also, check this out here. I've had mentioned this in the past, but you can see here millions more people without children and with children as well. But you can see here without children are now eligible for a tax credit that could save them thousands of dollars. Check this out. Before this year's round of changes, the EITC, the Earned Income Tax Credit, also known as the Adult Tax Credit, which is kind of the mirror opposite of the Child Tax Credit. There's the Earned Income Tax Credits for adults, and there's the Child Tax Credits for children. The Earned Income Tax Credit was only available to people without dependents between the ages of 25 and 64. The Earned Income Tax Credit, or the Adult Tax Credit, it has a couple different names, is now available to people who are at least 19 years old as well. Depending on one's income and number of children, so it can be for adults with children and without children now, can save up to $6,935. That's a lot of money. The Earned Income Tax Credit is a rare break for low income childless adults as well, who are often shut out of assistance programs. Millions of additional low and middle income people will be holding on to more cash this year as long as they remember to fill out the right form come tax season. And this link goes to a Google link that says IRS how to claim the Earned Income Tax Credit. So I will put a link down below in the description of this video to this link if you're interested. Okay, this is basically for low income people. If you haven't filed this year's taxes, or if you're interested for it for a new year, or if you want to file an amended tax return or anything like that, um, or if you want to know about it for future years, as I said, I've discussed this before as well. I think I may even have a link down below in the description of this video that I've done in previous videos as well. But I'll put a link to this IRS link so you can get more information about this as well. As always, if you're not a tax expert, ask somebody in your family who is, or maybe somebody at H&R Block or somebody who might know your specific tax situation to help you out. Okay, but as you can see here, the IRS has expanded criteria to qualify for the Earned Income Tax Credit this year, giving a permanent green light to those who are at least 19 years of age without children, as well as 18 years old, recently out of foster care or facing homelessness year. Before this year's round of changes, the EITC was only available to parents, childless people between the ages of 25 and 64, and older and younger Americans with dependents. The IRS changes reflect the federal government's ongoing expansions of the EITC to help more Americans struggling financially during the pandemic. With President Biden changing it last year under the last stimulus package, the American Rescue Plan, granting temporary eligibility to all filers over 18 without kids, a change that is now permanent. Wow, I did not realize that. People filing for the EITC can claim up to $7,000 in tax credits. Yeah, so you can literally get up to $7,000 with this, depending on your uh, specific situation. The IRS says we urge people to who are potentially eligible for this valuable credit to review the guidelines. Many people each year overlook this and leave money on the table. That's what I do. I'm here to help you guys as much as I can, get as much money as you guys can. Tax credits target benefits gaps for low income people without kids. So here you go. You always get questions about what about people without kids? Well, here's one of the things available. The EITC has historically existed as a tax break for low to moderate income workers with credits ranging between $560 and $6,935 for 2022. The exact amount for somebody receives will depend on their income and filing status. Okay, so you can earn up to $6,935. The income eligibility requirement still depends on how many children a given filer has. Filers with no children must have income less than $21,400 to qualify, or $27,380 if filing jointly. The most a household can make while still being eligible for the credit is $57,414, the cap for a married couple filing with 3 or more children. The less one earns, the greater their earned income tax credit. It is a refundable tax credit, which means lower income taxpayers who have little or no tax liability can receive the total amount of credit as a tax refund, anyways, which means they will send you a check in the mail. They will send you a check exactly like a stimulus check. Remember that a stimulus check is actually a refundable tax credit. In fact, the stimulus check is an advanced refundable tax credit, means they send it to you in advance of your tax return. And if you don't end up getting it, you file a tax return to get your stimulus check. If you end up not getting it at the end of the year, you file a tax return and claim it on line 30. So if you didn't receive your stimulus check for stimulus check 1 or 2 underneath former President Donald Trump back in 2020, you put it on line 30 on a 2020 tax return. Okay. If you didn't receive stimulus check number 3, that's a 2021 tax return that you're filing now. That would go on a 2021 tax return on line 30. Okay. You put the amount that is owed to you. So if you, for example, if you're owed a $1,400 stimulus check, you didn't receive stimulus check number 3, or if you didn't get 2 of them, you and a dependent, or you and your spouse didn't receive them, they're lost in the mail, or you just never got them, you could put $2,800 there if you didn't receive 2 of them. So that's how you claim a stimulus check if you never got them. Okay, I sometimes still see people say, "I never got stimulus check number 2," or "I didn't get stimulus check number 3." You get that by filing a tax return. Okay, because remember that stimulus checks are actually advanced refundable tax credits. Okay, even if you're not a tax filer. Okay, um, yeah, believe it or not, I still get people that you know don't know this, but if you watch my channel regularly, you know this because we just talk about this a lot. So even if you're not a tax filer and you're missing a stimulus check, you might want to file a tax return. If you're not missing a stimulus check and you're not normally a tax filer, then don't worry about filing a tax return. You only would file it if you're missing a stimulus check, or if maybe you want to claim this earned income tax credit or this adult tax credit. But again, every person's situation is different. That's why you might want to talk to somebody who knows your tax situation, or maybe just walk into an H&R Block and say, "Hey, can you give me some advice, some quick advice, and tell me if I should file for this? Can I get this?" Or if you have somebody in your family who knows a little bit about taxes, say, "Hey, can I get this adult tax credit, this earned income tax credit? Do you think I would benefit from this?" That's why if you have anybody in your family or friend or anybody who thinks, or if you want to peruse that IRS website, because hey, if you end up getting some extra money, you can just send me a comment and say, "Thanks, Jimmy." I get those comments all the time from people with rent assistance, mortgage assistance, utility assistance. People say, "You know what, Jimmy, I applied for rent assistance like 2 or 3 months ago and I never heard back, and then all of a sudden I just got it today and I got like 4 months of my rent paid." I get those all the time, and those really warm my heart. Those are really they brighten my day. But that's why I tell you guys about this stuff, because, and that's why I tell you guys about all these different things. This state's passing something, this state's doing this, or earned income tax credits, child tax. I keep you up to date on the status of all these things because, like, even just like the child tax credits, I know how many people that's hurting right now, and I know how many people want updates on that. And there's 60 million children that aren't getting those. And think about how many people are just like waiting for that to get passed. And think about how many people are waiting for Social Security benefits to potentially get a raise. Think about how many people were holding their breath to see if student loans were payments were going to get paused again. Think about all these different things. Think about how many people are waiting on stimulus checks to see if they're going to get passed. Think about how many people are waiting on states to see if they're going to pass stimulus checks. All these different things. That's why I try to update you guys on everything I come across. We do research literally here on a daily basis, and anything that comes up, I update you guys on. I can't make up news, so sometimes I get questions on why aren't you updating on this, that, or the other thing, and I can't make up news. So I update you guys on what I have, but I try to keep you guys updated on the best I can. So, anyways, I'll link you to that article about the earned income tax credit down below in the description if you want to read it, as well as the link to the IRS website as well. Again, just if I help out as many people as I can. Yeah, and again, if you've already filed your tax return, or if you didn't file a tax return, but again, let me go back here. If you already filed the tax return and you think you qualify, and you're like, hey, I might get $1,000 or 2,000 or $7,000, you can file an amended tax return. Okay, and it might take you a while with an amended tax return to get that money, but if you end up getting hundreds or thousands of dollars, it's worth it. It's worth it. So you'd be happy I told you about it. Again, I've covered this in the past before, but I frequently recover things like this. And again, you never know. You never know. So if this helps you, let me know in the comments. And again, I'll be covering all sorts of stuff like this in the future. Again, just anything that can help anybody, I'll be here to let you guys know about. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure to subscribe down below. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Subscribing is completely free to do so, and I will keep you up to date here on everything you need to know about. This is a stimulus package program that was from the last stimulus package, and you read it right there. You heard it. They've made it permanent now. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. You can click here to watch my newest video next, or you can click here to see about $1,000 stimulus checks that were just passed for a couple million people. Congratulations to them. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.